had a live earlier that just kind of like went out. Something was wrong with that, and then at the same time it didn't post. So I don't know what happened with that. But today is definitely Tuesday, the 25th of January. So I'm gonna have to go over that again, I guess. But today is the 25th of January, Tuesday, and I'm excited because it's been another year for me. Thank God that it's another year. Um, God has blessed me with another year. He's honored me with another year of life. Yes, good boy AJ is live. The 25th of January, 1991. Um, I was, I arrived. I arrived on the scene. So today is definitely, a blessed day for me. I thank God for that. Definitely thank God for that. So today is Tuesday's thoughts, and I just want to leave you with a little thought for the day that I thought about, and I was actually talking about it earlier, and it's just based off of my experience so far. I know I haven't reached like some other people, up in age. They can talk on experience because they've been on the earth longer. But I definitely have had my share of experiences so far, and especially running a business. That's what I want to talk about today. Running a business it's difficult. It has its days. It has its hard tasks that you have to definitely attend to. It has its the financial side that you definitely have to pay attention to when you're running a legitimate business. You have to pay attention to the financial side, and it's a lot to balance, especially with me particularly. It started off in a weird way because I wasn't intending on starting a business. That was never my thought. I always had a passion for driving when I was younger, like at a very tender age, like around 4 or 5 years old. Like I was always gravitated towards driving, so I know that driving was something I loved. I actually used to imagine myself when I was very young driving for New York City MTA. So that's something that was my passion, and believe it or not, I end up doing something that's a little bit less than MTA, but we have something that's known as commuter van, or some call it dollar van. And I was fortunate enough to be able to fluctuate going to school at the time, going to high school. And at that time, when I was like 14, 15, I was like attempting to do it, but I didn't have no license. Like I didn't have a driver's license to drive, but I was still trying to drive it at the same time. But I had a licensed driver next to me. And then I then was able, at the time at 16 years old, I was able to get a junior driver's license. And in the state of New York, you can drive, like it was kind of like conditional. You can drive with your junior's driver's license, but there's like conditions to it. You got to drive with an adult over the age of 21, I believe it was, or something like that. And then you can't drive in the nighttime. So I used to fluctuate going to school and um, doing commuter van. So I do commuter van early in the morning, and then go to school from 8 o'clock, and then come out probably like 1, 2 o'clock if my schedule allowed, and then continue to work. So I did that for a period of time. Graduated high school, and then after that, um, you know, being on in that particular field, you tend to get pulled over a lot. And at that time, I was young and stupid, and I was getting pulled over a lot, getting a lot of tickets on my license, and wasn't really taking any regard to uh, the the negative impact that it can take on my license, or the toll that it could take, that if it could have taken on my license. So being young and dumb and not thinking anything of it, I just scheduled court dates and never decided to go to them. So I end up incurring $7,000 worth of tickets at that time. Yeah, $7,000 worth of tickets from 17 years old all the way to like 2021, 20 or 21 years of age. I incurred a whole bunch of tickets, $7,000 worth. And in the state of New York, when you are past 13 or 12, I believe it is, 12 suspensions, that's considered a felony. So if I was to get pulled over, which I was a lot of the times, but like I would finesse it in a way where I would be able to, like, I was a kid, so I had that kid face, and I had the license, and even though suspended, I used to try and try to talk my way out of things. And that's exactly what happened. So moving forward, license got suspended, $7,000 worth of tickets. And at that point in time, I was really risking it because I continued to drive still. Continued to still do commuter van with a suspended license. Talk about taking a real risk, right? So after a while, I got arrested a few times for driving with a suspended license. Wasn't being built out, always being let out on my own recognizance, which means it's let out on your own conditions, really and truly. So until the last time I was arrested, that last time I needed bail. So I bailed out, and I was looking at a felony charge, and it was dropped down to a misdemeanor, which I thank God for that too as well. I thank God for that. It was dropped down from a felony charge to a misdemeanor. And then I started to really had to evaluate myself and say, you know what, this is not going to work. So at that point in time, I say, you know what, I'm going to find something else to do. And as I said before, I wasn't intending on running a business or anything like that. I just love to drive. But as I said, I had to make a switch. So I switched it up, did a period of time in a mechanic shop, and then I met somebody who was doing a daycare contract, transportation-wise, and they weren't too happy about it, computational-wise. So I said, all right, me being me, I said, all right, let me see what I can do about this. So in 2014, I then formed a business, and I S&G, which is S&G Express. I formed that business as a transportation business, and then I took over that contract. When I took over that daycare contract now, it was all right. I started to realize exactly what the person was talking about in terms of compensation, but I was very persistent. So we had to go back to the drawing board now, because at that point in time, like, I realized, like, I started to do the numbers a couple months later, and I realized, I was like, wait a minute, something don't add up. The numbers don't add up here. But at that, remember, I'm a young guy at that point in time, and I was aspiring to do something, in terms of contract-wise. Like, I'm trying to get this business rolling and stuff like that, and be important and try to do something. So bumped into that contract, wasn't being compensated properly, and then I put my foot down with that contract, and I said, you know what, listen, something's got to change here, compensational wise, because this just ain't gonna work. Spending money on gas, insurance, and at that time, remember, $7,000 worth of tickets to pay at that point in time. Got a phone call by a miracle. Thank God for that. A $7,000 phone call is what changed all of that. At that point in time, I paid off my license, and I renegotiated a contract with the daycare, and end up finding out later on, 4 months down the line, that they were getting paid more money, way more money than I was working for, and that they were paying me for. So I lost it. I said, you know what? This is just not working out. Like that was the point in time where I felt like, I was being scammed or scummed or being taken for a ride based on my youth. What's up, Daryl? And yeah, it's my birthday today, so I'm just, on a live today, but in between the shift. I'm not even gonna be on here that long. 20 minutes tops. So at that point in time, I said, you know what? I'm gonna drop the business thing and I'm gonna get a regular job because I did restore my license, my privileges to drive at that point in time. I restored my license. I was able to get on to start back driving. And I was happy at that point. I was like around 23, 24 at that time. So within that, I left that. I dropped that contract. I left that alone. And I moved on. I met this Jewish guy. And, God sends blessings and he sends people. Thanks, Clarissa. How you doing? God sends people at the right time. And at that point in time, I felt like I was like knocked down. I was like, damn, son. These people are making like $10,000 on top of what they're making money off of me. They're making $10,000 and they're paying me $4,000 for the month. And that $10,000 is just for transportation that they're charging the government for. That was all supposed to go to me because I'm doing the day's work, picking up every child on the roster, doing all of that. And I'm just getting chump change. So, I say, you know what? It's time to cut this off. Time to move to a different direction. And right then and there, at the time I was feeling the most frustrated. That's when God just sent this Jewish guy. And that's the reason why I don't really judge people based on, thanks Daryl. I don't judge people based on their religion or based on their religious beliefs. Because you don't know who it is that could just drop something into your life that's a blessing. So when I met this Jewish guy now, I explained to him exactly what I was doing because he's a business owner, I'm a business owner, and now I'm coming to him as an employee, like as a potential employee. I'm basically at an interview. So at that point in time, I'm informing him. I'm like, I have this business that I'm doing right now, and I had a contract that I'm doing. Well, I didn't drop the contract at that time while I was at the interview because there's one thing that my mom taught me: never leave a job for nothing. You might as well just have something else lined up while you have something going on. So I followed that and I took that interview and I explained the numbers to this guy. And he looked at me and said, I'm not gonna lie to you, those are your own people, but they're screwing you. So with that, he said, yo, listen, come work for me and I'll show you the ropes. I said, all right, no problem. So I dropped that contract the very same day. Because when he showed me the numbers, he said, I can pay you more than what you're making over there a month, and you don't even have to pay for gas, no insurance, no nothing. I'm paying you. So I said, all right, no problem. Switch over to that company now. Now I'm an employee instead of an employer. So now it's time to switch roles and go into the employee role now at this point. So, all right, I'm an employee. And at that point in time, there's so much work that this guy has, transportation wise within his community that, he doesn't even have enough workers at that point in time. So I was the guy that was pretty much going everywhere, like wherever anyone didn't want to go, Pennsylvania, Georgia and back, Virginia, upstate New York, come back in the summertime. Spending a whole week up in the bungalows, all of that. I had to do most of the things that nobody wanted to do as far as the distance. Long distance drive, I was practically the only one and the youngest one doing all of that. So based on that, I was doing most of the hard work. I ended up being paid more than everybody else, and everybody else didn't know why. Because at that point in time, I was waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, leaving out at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 a.m., and reaching home at 12 o'clock, midnight, that same day. So, I was doing the most out of everybody else at that point in time. And, my boss at that time, he realized it, and he realized the drive and the passion that I have, for the transportation business. And with that, he really took me up under his wing as like he would his son. Yeah. And that was the nickname that I had at the company. Oh, that's such and such son. I don't want to give out names, but yeah, that's his son. because of the drive that I had, and I was really doing the most at that point in time. I was doing a lot. Um, so within that, that was about a 3 month period, and within 5 months, I did so much for the company. Within a 5 month period, he couldn't even believe it. And he looked back at my track record like, yo, you went here, you went here, you went here, you went here, you went there, you went there, you went there. It was so much different places that I went, and it was like it superseded the normal. And I would just say, yeah, I'm going here, I'll go here. And remember, I'm 23, 24, so at that point in time, like I wanted the experience. You know what I'm saying? Remember, I said my passion was driving. I love driving, so I wanted the experience to see different places, and that was my way. So I took it, and I was very serious about it. I treated the customers fairly and stuff like that. You know, they're Jewish, so you know the thing is, you know, the cultural difference. So I treated them fairly, and I got to know the customers. I got to know the clientele, like on a first name basis. They got to know me on a first name basis, and with that, there was like a certain personality that I had that my boss liked because I had the relationships with the different clients. So with that, now we're 6 months in to working at this company. Watch that. Watch God. I'm 6 months into working at the company, and now the company starts to evolve. It was already evolving before I got into the company, but now it starts to evolve. Newer contracts are coming in, and I was posed a question. Mind you, no college degree, right? No college degree, no experience in running a business. I'm posed the question, AJ, what's up? You've been working here for 6 months. You've been working the hardest. I want to make you one of my supervisors, one of my managers. I want you to run the company. Help me assist me in running the company. And I was overwhelmed. I was flabbergasted, overwhelmed at the time. I'm telling you, Clarissa, he did it at 23 years old, 6 months into a company that, you know, employs over 20 something at the time employees. I'm offered a supervisor or managerial position. And as I said, I didn't have any experience in business, and I was given the position, and I said, you know what, I'll take it. It's a race for me. You know what I'm saying? I worked hard. Although I wasn't there for years, there was people that was working there before me for years. You know, of course, jealousy came. You know, people started to look at me like, you know, but it is what it is. You know, that's the key thing. That's like one of the things that I got to point out. Even though you work hard and you supersede, you know, expectation or supersede expectations, there are going to be people who are going to look down on you because they're going to say, well, I've been here this long, and well, you haven't been putting in the work. You know what I'm saying? I came in, put in the work, and I got the position. Moving forward quickly, right after that, boom, a new contract came in. And this was one of the most important contracts that we got as a company. Like, we had to really expand on a major basis. We had to institute like buses like these and stuff like that. It was a big contract in the city with a big university, Yeshiva University. And of course, I'm fresh into a manager's position. Don't know nothing about business. Didn't graduate no college of business or nothing like that. No degrees. Still don't have no degrees. Working on it right now. In school right now. I'm attending college right now, thankfully. And again, I get approached again by my boss. Yo, you're doing a good job as the road supervisor. You're managing the business well. I'm able to go away and, you know, because it was me and another supervisor at the time. So you guys come together and you make the business work. All right, feeling proud of myself. I know there was something behind that though, because there was something behind the first time. There was the manager's position. So I'm like, all right, what's this about now? We have a contract. It's a big contract. We're talking about like $1.5 million a year type contract, feeding a whole bunch of families type contract. So we want you to go up there and represent the company and ascertain the contract. So I'm like, wait. Me? Why didn't you tell Ronald to go get the contract, to obtain the contract? Because he had a little bit of experience in business, but for some strange reason, is the personality that I had. And so 2 days later now, because there's always research. I researched the facility, I researched the clients, and I knew, I made sure and educated myself on the facility and stuff like that. And went up there the next day. I prayed before that because I'm like, Lord, please give me the mindset and the ability to execute this. And went up there, and I had to do a little show and tell of the vehicle, and did a couple of questions and stuff like that. Had a couple of questions myself, and I represented the company well. I represented the company well at the time, and I was proud of myself for that, because when I reached back to the office, the phone call reached before I even got there. So I reached back to the office, and my boss just had that big smile, like, yeah, we're good for next year. We have like 2 years worth of contract, and everybody's gonna be happy. And which indeed everyone was happy at that point in time, because we got brand new buses at that time. We had the finances to be able to equip the buses, license them, DOT, all that. At that point in time, I was able to obtain my CDL license with passenger endorsement, my CDL-B, which is the CDL bus, with passenger endorsement and air brakes and school bus endorsement, all at the expense of my boss. Something that would be a value of about, let's say, $5,000, all free. So you can see exactly how everything institute nowadays when I'm running my company. So I thank God for that. So to move on now, landed the contract. We start working, and about a year later, when it was time to go back the next year for the contract, a back and forth happens between my boss and the president of the university. End result of that was the contract was breached. My boss was sued. Had nothing to do with me. It was an internal problem between my boss and the president of the university. He wanted to renew the contract, but he was already locked in a 2-year contract, and he wanted to up the price. But you can't do that because you're already locked in a contract. He breached the contract nonetheless, was sued for it, and the ability to do business. The stipulations of the lawsuit was, the ability to do business for the next 5 years. He was barred from doing that in the state of New York. The company ended up being shut down. At that point in time, I'm a very savvy thinker. I think on my feet. I was very quick with it. So what happened was, my boss came to me the day that we were closing, and he was like, yo, as you can see that everything is starting to dwindle down. I have you on only 2 runs. I can't really afford to pay everybody. I have to start to lay off people. We had to start getting rid of buses, selling the brand new buses that we just got a year ago, all of that. And at that point in time, for some strange reason, like 2 months before that, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was hit with start your own business. God was just telling me, yo, you got to start your own business. So I already had my paperwork already together. Everything, all my documents, all my legal documents. AJ Elite was open for business. I didn't have no vehicles at the time. The week before everything shut down, I just had bought a bus, and I didn't know what I was doing with it. Didn't know what I was doing with the business or the bus. So with that, I said, all right. He said, listen, Aaron, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I'm gonna have to lay off everybody, including you. So at that point in time, I'm like, oh, damn, man, I'm not down. So he said, we don't have the contract anymore. Um, I said, so wait a minute. We have all the little small contracts that we were servicing. He said, but I can't do business for the next 5 years. I said, but I have a business. I can do business for how many ever years that I choose, as long as I pay my taxes. So with that, now he said, you're right. So we got to the table, sat down behind the table, and I said, listen, I'm gonna make a deal with you. For the next 2 years, I'm gonna give you this amount. We ran the numbers for all the small contracts that we were servicing, and it came up to a sizable amount. My eyes was popping like it is right now, and that just tells you God is faithful. Um, so we ran the numbers, and I said, you know what? I'm going to give you a percentage. This percentage, I'm going to have my vehicles running, and with that, I'm going to start to build. I'm going to use you as the face of my company now, because you can't do any business, but you can attract business for me in your community. And everything that I obtain, I'm going to give you a percentage of. And we're going to add to the percentage. So with that now, I was able to expand on my business easily. We signed a contract, it was notarized, and I continued to move forward with that. So at that point in time, I instantly grabbed on to 3 contracts in one area in Brooklyn, and the next 2 in Queens, right? So that's 5 contracts altogether. So at that point in time, now I got to move fast. I have to start to get people that's licensed, that can drive, and that's how everything started. That's how everything started for me, really and truly. So I'm blessed to be where I'm at right now. And at this point in time, we're talking about over 11 employees and over 7 contracts. About 10, to be honest with you. 10. Yeah. My count the other day was 10, and that's being honest. 10 contracts that we have within the 5 boroughs of Brooklyn, and I can't complain. God is good. It's been another year, 31 years old. From 23, from my experience, from where I've been, $7,000 worth of tickets, felonies, facing all that stuff like that, dropped down to misdemeanor. And now I employ over 10 employees. They're like my family, my team. Make sure you have, the moral of the story is, make sure at this point you have a strong team when you're running a business and you're conducting your business. Make sure you have a strong team behind you. Because I got to go back to work just now. So if you catch the replay, this is the thought for today. Make sure that you're persistent with what you do. And if you're in a field and you're passionate about it, work hard in it. So that way you can be recognized. And when you're recognized, you never know where you'll reach in life. God just had it in a way for me to where I can be able to assist others in feeding their families. And it wasn't a dream of mine, but that's what God placed me to do. That was my purpose. So number 1 is know your purpose. Right? Know your purpose. And number 2 is make sure you have the proper team around you, because without the right team, and I have a team. It's just what? People driving out one ways, people crazy in Brooklyn. I have a team that helps me run my business. It's not just me. As much as you see me here live, this is the reason why you don't see me like that much, because we work hard. I have a team that works hard. My secretary, my vice president of the company. I call him my vice president, but he's not really the vice president. He's the manager at the end of the day, but he acts as the vice president. He does like most of the stuff that I can't do because I'm on the field all the time. But I have my team that's strong, that I trust, that I vetted. Also, that's the next thing. Make sure you vet your people. You can't always have every and anybody around you. Also, always vet the people that's around you. If you know them for a long time, make sure and vet them still at the end of the day, because they could just switch around and do whatever. But vet them. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go just now because I gotta pick up some of these kids. Some of these cool kids. I call them the cool kids, although they sometimes they some badasses. But I deal with them nonetheless. Love them still, same way. You know, had a lot of tips today. On my birthday, which happens every year. Thank God for them. And listen, man. You guys know what it is about. It's the Respective Angles show. It's AJ is live on my birthday today, 25th. Like, share, subscribe. Yes, I am definitely back on the consistent basis, on the regular. We're gonna be around here. So that was just a little short story, a little short story of my life. I had to be a little bit open and let you guys know exactly my past and stuff like that. And now you know. So now you're gonna be a little bit acquainted with me and who I am and stuff like that. And thanks, Clarissa, my #1 supporter. I appreciate you a lot. I gotta get you a little wrench because I keep. In fact, we're gonna deal with that right now, man. You're one of my moderators because we're about to change it up on the channel. We're about to, as you see, I'm appearing a lot. I'm gonna be out on the streets. I'm gonna be on the streets again. This series is gonna be a series that I'm putting together out on the streets of Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Long Island. Yeah. But I gotta wait a little bit till it get a little bit warmer to get that series going, because right now it's kind of cold. Me and cold, I'm Trinidadian, naturally born from Trinidad, so me and cold, we don't go together, you know what I'm saying? Cold weather is just too much for me, so I like when it's a little bit warm so I can be out and about with my mask on, for sure. Be out and about and, getting to know the different cultures and getting to know the neighborhood. As much as you guys don't know, I want you guys to be aware of. Maybe there's something in the Jewish culture that you don't know about that you may learn about. So stay tuned for that series. We're waiting for it to get a little bit warmer because, when I thought about it, the cold weather is just like too ridiculous in Brooklyn. So it's like, I like to stay indoors. That's why you see me inside here. So guys, stay tuned. Like, subscribe, share. The right team around you, know your purpose. One thing, please get a prayer life. Communicate with God, please. Talk to God every day. Figure out the plan for your life. Let him unveil the plan for your life so that way you know the direction in which you should go. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't leave without telling you that. That's the most important part. Your relationship with God. Your prayer life is very important. Always make sure that you have that relationship. That's one thing. Why did I leave that out? Yes, I was praying in between all of that. That's why God granted me favor. So until next time, like